Here's a little intro until I get one professionally done. Like, comment, and subscribe to join in on the fun. Hi, hello, welcome. Today I'm at home. We're in Waynesville, and I chose here to come out to. It's actually kind of dreary today. It's been raining on and off, so I wasn't sure if I'd have to do this video somewhere else, somewhere indoors, but I chose here because I really like the view. It's nice. It's off of Main Street in Waynesville, where I live. And yeah, oh, and I have a new shirt. I have this Darth Vader shirt that I'm super excited about. I like the sleeves. It's super cute. But yeah, I wanted to come out here and do a talking video because I have news from my rheumatologist. He was able to determine that I do in fact have lupus, which has meant a lot of things. So starting in Buffalo and Rochester, I've had the lupus test, I've had rheumatologists, and there wasn't a lot of luck. I had, and I know you guys had commented that I should have the ANA test to see if I have SLE, which is systematic lupus something with an E. I'm still figuring this all out. So I know you guys said that I should have the ANA test, which I had in New York. And I had a few of them actually. Some came back positive, some came back negative, and so it was kind of inconclusive. And when I moved here, it was my primary doctor's understanding that if you have a positive, that means you have those things in your blood. The things being that you have the antibodies, and I am going to say, full disclosure here, I don't think I'm saying the right medical terminology, but you at least have the stuff in your blood. If we're just gonna say stuff now, because I know that it's not going to be the right terminology. I have the stuff in my blood that makes it difficult to heal, makes it so that your healthy stuff attacks your healthy stuff instead of stuff attacking the bad, it attacks the good. So that's why I've had problems with infection. You can also have problems with clotting, that kind of stuff. But I did have a test for the clotting specifically, and it's at least not an issue now. It can come down the line, but I feel like I need to rewind because I'm saying like all this stuff at once and it's turning into a cluster. Yes, so I had the positive ANA in New York. I also had the positive ANA here, and my rheumatologist said that it's higher than when I was in New York, which is not good, but it also determined, like, yes, you have lupus. And now that it's confirmed, I have had waves of emotion. I know it's a good thing that it's confirmed because now they can treat it. But it also comes with, yes, now it's confirmed. Now you know you're never getting better because lupus is lifelong. It affects a lot of different things. I've also had issues just processing because, and Jacob said this was similar to when he was diagnosed with autism. You start like thinking, like going through like everything that has been medically wrong with you, and in his case like more how he processes things. But with me, like, I've had sepsis in the past, I've had problems with healing, I've had issues where I would be on disability and they didn't really have answers for me. There were issues where I was passing out from just like exhaustion and they said it was stress. So yeah, just trying to link all that stuff together and come up with an answer. But now they have me on a new medication that sounds really promising. I actually have been feeling better recently than I have in years. I've also been seeing a dermatologist. I touched on this a little bit in my 10,000 subscriber video, that I had the cyst that you all remember on my face. Yeah, that whole issue, it spread into my nose and my ear, and that was linked to when I had sepsis in 2010. And since I have problems healing, if infection isn't taken care of right away, it can become problematic. And so, yeah, with me personally, now knowing I have lupus, it makes sense that I cannot heal properly and have problems with infection, like my nose issue, which is now cleared up thanks to my dermatologist, who has been absolutely wonderful. My dermatologist in New York, they kept pushing it back and pushing it back, which caused the removal, that is, which caused even more issues because the infection was there and not being treated with the right antibiotics. And now they have me on the antibiotics that I was on when I had sepsis. So everything here is being treated a lot better, and I am eternally grateful. Like, I've cried just based on the fact that people are listening to me, which is a big deal. Like, I felt like in New York no one was listening to me. I've tried advocating for myself, which I have a hard time with, since I have a hard time speaking up. I'm not really that kind of person. Like, I'm kind of shy unless I know you, and on video I'm very like, wah! And if I know you, I'm wah! As you know, since I'm all peppy and stuff. But if I don't know you, I'm kind of shy, and I have a hard time advocating for myself. That's been a problem that I've had right along. But after I had sepsis, I learned that you have to. No one else is going to do it for you. And yeah, it's been a learning process. I've been learning to speak up for myself, especially when other people don't. And with medical stuff, it's only you. Like, it's you and the doctor, and if you're not getting the care you need, you kind of need to speak up. But that all changed when I moved here. I would have really bad anxiety the night before my appointments. I still do, and I have to write a list. So I remember everything. I get into the office and I'm like, I don't remember anything. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to do this. And then I need to have my list in hand. And when I went into my primary doctor, I had my list in hand. And when I went into my rheumatologist for the first time, I had my list in hand so I could reference it. So when I got anxious, I could look down and see, like, okay, there's this, this, this. And then the doctor would even like just grab the list and make sure that he or she went through everything. And it's been really, really good. I've received my gel knee injections, which have changed everything. I've been able to walk more. I still need to pace myself again, just because, and that's another thing, like my knees are like linked to the lupus too, because it's degenerative arthritis, which means it's just because my body is attacking itself, essentially. So the medicine they have me on is to stop, or at least minimize, the fact that my body is attacking itself. I'm not sure what that means in the long run. I know the specific medication I'm on now, I need to have my eyes tested and stuff, and lupus can also affect your eyes. When I'm having the really bad flare-ups, even if I'm not necessarily in pain, like a lot of the time my eyes are bad, like they hurt so bad. And when I was working, just staring at the computer for so many hours, they hurt just so bad. And I have light sensitivity, I have all this stuff because of lupus, because your body is just attacking itself. It just wants to do that. There's no real reason. That's just what happens. But also coming to grips with this, I think I've had a harder time reflecting on social interactions and how lupus has affected me in that way. And I actually started reading online about people who have lupus and support groups and stuff like that, and everyone has similar stories, which has helped. Since I wasn't treated for so long, when I was working full-time, and basically since I've moved to North Carolina, Jacob has wanted me to get my health in order, to see doctors, and I've had appointments weekdays like every day, like 3, 4, 5 appointments per week since I've moved here, and it's been a full-time job just dealing with that. But in New York, I wasn't properly treated, and I was working full-time, and it was exhausting. So by the time I got out of work, I had no energy for anything else. The weekends, I would just sleep the whole weekend, and dependent on what I had going on, there was a lot of times that I had to cancel plans. I'm a big concert person. I've bought a lot of concert tickets that had to just go unused, but I mean, in order to buy those tickets and all that stuff, like, or in order to go to the event, you need the tickets. And so I don't know how I'm going to feel from day to day, and that has been hard on friendships. I've had a friend say to another friend when I was in a relationship at the time, like, oh, I don't know why he allows her to sleep all day. And like, one, the allow thing was obviously an issue. It wasn't my boyfriend at the time saying it, but it was the friend. And just being looked down on like that, I feel like people think that I'm lazy, that I am just in bed all day, maybe depressed, maybe whatever it is, but just dealing with all of that, and then hearing that in your head, and then wanting to be in bed even longer because like the friendships you have, like people are saying those kinds of things. It's very, very difficult. And I've been called unreliable because I would have plans and I would have to cancel the day of because I wasn't feeling well. And that's something that Jacob and I had to work on through the relationship, and it's still to this day not problematic, but we found a way to work through it. So let's say there's an event that we're going to, he may even be coming home for said event. If that day I don't feel well, like, that's a wrap. I'm going to be home in bed. And he's come to understand that, and it's working well right now. But it is something we had to work on. Like, we had plans, and I'm gonna cry during this part, I've already choked up. We had plans in Disney World. He made plans for me to go to Winnie the Pooh's restaurant. It was my first time at Disney World, and he was so excited. This is when we first started dating, and I just knew it wasn't going to happen, but I still tried because I saw how excited he was. And we got there, and he's like, oh, I want this to be the greatest day. And I could tell by his tone that, like, he knew it wasn't gonna happen. He was excited, I was excited, but ultimately, like, I just broke down and said that I couldn't do it. I ended up going back to the hotel. He went to Disney World by himself and had like a sad day on rides, but he mostly felt bad that I couldn't do it and was so excited and didn't know how to like interpret that for himself. And we still have issues. Like, I was supposed to go to the Star Wars Bigfoot Festival, the Bigfoot Festival they have every year in Townsend, Tennessee. I was supposed to go to that with him this year. He came home for that, and I was too sick. So now he knows that that's a possibility. Back during the Disney trip, that was like one of the first things that we had been talking about, and he was excited to take me to Disney like even before we met. He found out how much I like Star Wars, which obviously, like the tattoo, like all this stuff, and he was so excited to take me and just so disappointed and heartbroken, and of course I was too. But I ended up going for Mickey's Christmas, and I was able to go to Disney for the Star Wars park itself. And there was a hurricane in Florida when we were there, so that made it even harder because humidity and stuff is one of my big triggers, which is why I wanted to move out of New York. Being close to the lakes was just awful. And I've really, living in New York, started thinking that I was a hypochondriac because people just weren't listening to me, and people would tell me to, or I'm talking about doctors now, I mean people too, but doctors would say, okay, you need to lose weight. And I was like, okay, yes, I know I need to lose weight, but if I can't move, like, I can't lose weight. And since I've gotten the gel injections, I've been doing so much better. I can walk and move more. I've been able to lose weight, which is helpful. And yeah, it's just been a tremendous amount of stuff without, like, so there's two different types of pain I experience. One I just called like autoimmune pain. I didn't really know what the autoimmune thing was. And then the other pain that I knew was like from my weight. Like, there's two different types of pain I feel in my knees. There's two different types of pains I feel in general. Like the pain that hurts like down to my bone, just all over, like I drop things when I try to pick them up, like when I'm having bad days. Just this type of pain I knew wasn't weight related, and I just started feeling crazy because like no one was listening to me. I was having a really hard time. I was gaining weight because I was depressed and in a relationship that had turned into a friendship, and he didn't know how to deal with my health issues, which, I mean, if you do, Jacob still has issues and I don't really blame him. But at the point we are now, he knows when I'm feeling bad. He knows when things, like, I don't even have to say it anymore. Like, he gets it. And that's something that I haven't had in other relationships. So it's working really well now. Like, it was obviously a learning process, like the whole Disney thing. And like when I couldn't go to Bigfoot this year, he understood. He was still bummed, obviously. I was bummed. And then he feels bad because I can't go, because it's like something I can't control, and he knew I was excited about going to Bigfoot. But like, he doesn't like feel it as personally anymore. He just like feels bad for me, essentially. People have asked about my health and Jacob being on the road. If I'm having bad days, like, I kind of would rather he be on the road, just because like my sickness, there's nothing he can do for it. If he's on the road, like, I'm kind of happy I'm having a flare-up while he's on the road, because when he's home I want to spend time with him and not be in bed. So if I can rest while he's gone and I'm not feeling well, it's good. It's good. And I don't know, it's not something that he can necessarily help with. Like, when I say I'm sick, it isn't like I have a cold, I need all this stuff. It's like I'm in pain and I'm tired, and these are all things that he can't necessarily help with. He calls me every night, sometimes multiple times a day. When I got my lupus diagnosis, that was really hard, but he was sending videos. He was super supportive. He was taking calls like in the middle of filming, like super supportive. And he's the one that's pushed me to go to all these doctors, because like I didn't even want to try again. Since being in New York, I was just inundated with nothingness. Like, I would go to all these doctor's appointments and it was always all these tests and just nothing in the end. And I would be more tired from having to deal with all of that and having no relief. Like, the only relief I did finally have was the gel injections, and I couldn't get those because the insurance at the time, through my old job that I was laid off from, didn't cover them. So when I was laid off, I was finally able to get the gel injections because I had new insurance. And it's just been all these hoops to jump through. But with all the sad stuff, I'm ultimately, and I've had to get to this point, I'm ultimately happy with the diagnosis, because now I at least don't feel crazy. I know what's going on. I know why I've been so sick. I can be on medication that will ultimately help me, and can adjust my life to like things that I know are going to trigger me. And the move itself has been incredibly helpful, because like I said before, living near the lakes, in the winter it's cold and humid, and then the cold is even more cold and it hurts, and I also have what's called Raynaud's, I think it's pronounced. It's R-A-Y-N-A-U-D, and that's coupled with lupus, and that's where like hot feels more extreme hot and cold seems more extreme cold. And so living there in the summer, and it's only been within like the past decade that this has started, the humidity is insane. So you walk outside and it's like a wall of humidity. And then the winter is obviously so cold with so much snow. And then if you get all that snow, you have to remove that snow, and like just wearing myself down. So the winters here have been like nothing. I still feel like I'm waiting for winter to come. Like that's what I would summarize my move. Like I would call it like the winter that never came. Like winter happened here and now it's spring and summer, and I feel like I'm still waiting for winter to come because I can't believe like that was winter and now summer's coming and I feel like I skipped winter. So the move itself has been great for my health. I've been in less pain, and now the fact that I'm going to all these doctors and they're helping me has been tremendous, because I will be on medication that suits me and suits what I have, and they're finding these things, and I've been feeling better. I imagine as the medicine kicks in, because I just started it, it's going to be even better. The doctor said that it can take up to like 12 weeks for it to like reach its final like potency, like its workingness. So I still have some time, and there are adjustments that can be made and all this stuff. So I'm hopeful, and I think the diagnosis is a good thing ultimately. Like it answers all these things, and then like there's a reason I'm in bed. Like I know this now. Like before I would be in bed in pain, and then it would spiral into depression and all this stuff because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then outside people's influences, their viewpoints, their judgment would get to me, and that would be hard too. So it's really good now that I know it's not just in my head, like that I'm receiving treatment, that there is an understanding that, like what I said before, that I'm being heard is like the greatest part. And like that's what I told Jacob when I was upset after the diagnosis, and he said the same thing, that like you're being heard, you're being seen by these doctors, they are helping, like it can only get better from here. And I'm really optimistic about everything, and it's still hard. Like I go back and forth, like okay, now I have this thing for life, but I also have to remember that, and Jacob is actually the one that told me this, that made me be like, yeah, that's true. Like I've always had this isn't a new diagnosis. Like I've had it, I have a name for it now. Like I always suspected that it was lupus, but now I can say concretely that yes, it's this. I know what to do and what not to do. And yeah, that's probably the most beneficial thing that could have happened from all of this. I do really like this lookout here, and I don't know if I should call it a lookout. It's kind of just like a ledge, as you can see here. So Main Street is behind us, and that's where all the shops are. The arch that I filmed is down that way on Main Street. But yeah, it's just a really pretty area, and I was going to go to the park, but it was raining, so I wasn't sure, like at least here I could just like run into my car right away if it started raining even more. So it is starting to sprinkle a little again, so I think we're gonna head back to the car now. All right, so we're back in the car. I also needed to get a tissue to blow my nose since I was crying, and that was a lot of the reason why. And it's maybe not raining. It was raining a little, but then I got in the car and it stopped, because that's usually how it works. But I also wanted to say, when I posted my initial video, that you guys all reached out like crazy. A lot of you have your own autoimmune issues, mobility issues, stuff like that. So I appreciate it so much. I don't feel as alone in this. My therapist also suggested a chronic illness group that I'm looking into joining to help with all this stuff. But I really appreciate all your feedback. I appreciate your stories, and it has helped a lot in dealing with all of this. It's one of the reasons why I'm putting myself out there and speaking about this, because I've never been the type of person to speak out in general, really. Like, I've just kept everything inside, and to my detriment, really. So I do like having this channel as an outlet to speak out and know that there's people like me and that we can help one another with all of this. And then that couples in with my weirdness and all this stuff. I touched on that in my 10,000 subscriber video, that the reason why I started the channel is that I was on Jacob's live stream and people were talking about my toys and wanting to see all that, because Jacob was staying at my place in Rochester and I had my shelves behind me and people wanted to see all that stuff and talk about what they had, and I was like, oh yay, I'm not the only weirdo. So I don't know, I like the sense of community. I like the sense of weirdness that I've found since dating Jacob. I was really touched when I went to the sideshow in Georgia with Jacob and just seeing everyone putting themselves out there. And yeah, it's a bunch of weirdness, and I say weird in the best way. Like, I love the weirdness. I'm a weirdo. Like, I like the odd and all that stuff, and I admire people that do put themselves out there, and I wanted that more for myself. And anytime I'm like self-conscious filming or going out there, like, I think of those people. I think of the people in the comments, and it really has helped tremendously. So thank you for watching. Like I said, I'm trying to upload more now that I'm feeling better. If I'm not uploading, I'm probably not feeling so hot. So I've also had to, like, and this is for the channel, this is for everything, like, I've had to know my body, know when I'm not feeling great, and act accordingly, because if I push myself, my flare-up's just going to get worse, and it's going to take even longer, maybe months, to recover. This infection that I've had has had me down for the count for like months. It got really bad when I was in the Eclipse, at the Eclipse in Buffalo, and I came home and happened to have my dermatologist appointment, and since then she's been working with me, and I won't say it was immediately better. It's been a few months of just awfulness with the antibiotics and feeling sick and just like pain from the actual infection, and yeah, just not fun stuff. But luckily I am on the other side of this. I'm feeling better. I was able to climb that mountain. That was, and this is funny, I texted Jacob like 2 days before that saying that I think I'm finally feeling better, like, because he was worried that I'd get sepsis again, and so was I, and that I'd have to have IV antibiotics again. I was afraid the antibiotics weren't working, and they somehow like started working almost overnight. Like, I had been on them, and all of a sudden, like, it was clearing up and I was feeling better. So I'm still on them now. I have my dermatologist appointment coming up, and I'm probably going to be on an antibiotic for life. And it isn't one of the ones that, like, they say, like, okay, like, it's one that's meant to be on, like, long term. So I was concerned about that. So yeah, I have a lot of progress. And oh, that's what I was saying. I was telling Jacob that I was feeling better, and then I had a doctor's appointment, and afterwards I was like, I want to go climb that mountain. I want to go see this and do that. And he texted me, he's like, you said you were feeling better 2 days ago, and now you're out climbing the highest mountain in the East. I'm like, yeah, that was very impromptu. So I don't know, if I'm having a good day, like, I want to make the most of it, because I have so many bad days. And I think that's why I have the positive outlook that I do, because when I am having a good day, like, I want it to be a good day. I want it to be just as good as it can be. I get excited going out and seeing all the things, because I know that there's going to be days that I'm just going to be in bed and unable to do anything. So I think that that's why I like lining the house with all my toys and all that stuff, because when I'm having bad days, I look over that, and that's a little joy. That's a little dopamine burst. But yes, thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for everything. And I think that's it for now.